She prayed the same prayer every single night for 50 years. Heaven never answered, not once. But what happened on the night she finally closed her eyes forever will shatter everything you believe about unanswered prayers. Let me tell you the story of Hannah and the son who came home too late. In a quiet village where church bells marked every hour and neighbors knew each other's heartbreaks, there lived an old woman named Hannah. She was 83 years old now, with hair white as winter snow and hands that trembled when she folded them to pray. Her small cottage sat at the edge of the village, its windows always glowing with candlelight long after midnight. The villagers knew her routines like they knew the sunrise. Every evening, when darkness settled over the hills, Hannah would light a single candle in her window, kneel beside her worn wooden bed, and pray the same prayer she had prayed for half a century. Lord, bring my Samuel home. Wherever he is, keep him safe. Soften his heart. Let him find his way back to me before I die. 50 years, the same words, the same tears, the same silence in response. Samuel had been 20 years old when he left. Hannah still remembered that terrible night, the shouting, the accusations, the door slamming so hard the pictures fell from the walls. Her only child, her beautiful boy, had looked at her with eyes full of rage and spoken words that still echoed in her heart. "You ruined my life with your rules and your religion. I never want to see you again." She had run after him into the rain, calling his name until her voice broke, but Samuel had disappeared into the darkness and never looked back. For 5 decades, Hannah waited. She wrote letters to addresses that no longer existed. She asked travelers if they had seen a man matching his description. She kept his bedroom exactly as he left it, dusty now, frozen in time, waiting for a return that never came. The villagers had long stopped asking about Samuel. "Poor Hannah," they whispered, still praying for a ghost. "Surely he is dead by now. Why can she not let go?" Even Pastor Thomas, who had baptized Samuel as an infant, gently suggested that perhaps God's answer was silence, that peace might come through acceptance rather than endless hoping. Hannah listened politely. Then she went home and lit her candle again. One autumn morning, Hannah woke feeling strangely weak. Her neighbor, young Mary, found her still in bed, something that had never happened in 40 years. Mary rushed to bring the doctor, who examined Hannah with gentle, sad eyes. "Her heart is tired," he told Mary quietly. "It could be days, it could be hours. We cannot know." Word spread quickly through the village. By evening, a small group had gathered in Hannah's cottage, neighbors who had watched her pray for decades, now keeping vigil as her breaths grew shallow. Pastor Thomas sat beside her bed, holding her frail hand. "Hannah," he said softly, "is there anything you need, anything that would bring you peace?" Hannah's eyes fluttered open. For a moment, they held their old strength. "I need nothing," she whispered. "I have prayed my prayer. 50 years I have trusted. I do not need to see the answer to believe it is coming." Tears rolled down past Thomas's weathered cheeks. "But Hannah, what if Samuel never comes? Is that what you cannot ask?" She squeezed his hand with surprising strength and smiled, a peaceful, knowing smile. "Then I will have spent 50 years talking to my father about my son. That is not wasted time. That is love, and love is never wasted, Pastor, not a single word of it." The room fell silent. The candle in the window flickered. "When Samuel was 3 years old, he was terribly sick," Hannah continued. "Fever so high I thought I would lose him. I prayed all night. I begged God to save my boy. By morning, the fever broke. I thanked God for answering. But here is what I learned. I did not pray because I knew the fever would break. I prayed because prayer was all I had. Faith is not a bargain with God. Faith is trusting even when the fever does not break, even when the door does not open, even when the silence stretches for 50 years." She looked toward the candle in the window, the same flame she had lit 18,000 nights. "I do not know where my Samuel is tonight. I do not know if he thinks of me, but I know this. Every prayer I have prayed has been heard. Whether the answer comes in my lifetime or beyond it, I will have been faithful, and faithfulness is its own kind of miracle." The hours passed slowly. Hannah drifted between sleep and waking, her lips still moving in silent prayer. Just before midnight, Hannah opened her eyes one final time. She looked around the room at the faces gathered there. "Tell him," she whispered, so quietly they had to lean close. "If he ever comes, tell him I never stopped, not for one single night. Tell him I loved him with every breath. Tell him he was always welcome home." She closed her eyes, smiled softly, and spoke her last words. "Father, I trust you, even now, even still." The candle flickered once, then burned steady. Hannah was gone. At that very moment, 300 meters away, an old man sat alone in a bus station. His name was Samuel. He was 70 years old now, with gray hair and a face carved by decades of hard living. In his trembling hands, he held a crumpled photograph of a young woman holding a baby, smiling with pure joy. His mother, himself, a lifetime ago. For 50 years, Samuel had run. He had tried to bury the guilt, drown the memories, forget the words he had spoken in anger. But lately, his mother's face had haunted his dreams. 3 days ago, something had broken inside him. He had bought a bus ticket home. The bus arrived in the village at noon the next day. Samuel stepped off, his legs unsteady. He asked a young woman for directions to Hannah's cottage. The woman's face changed. "You are Samuel?" He nodded. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I am Mary. I was with her. She passed last night, just before midnight." Samuel collapsed to his knees, a broken old man who had finally come home one day too late. "She left a message for you," Mary whispered. "She said to tell you she never stopped praying, not for one single night. 50 years, Samuel. She said you are always welcome home. She said she loved you with every breath." Mary pressed something into his shaking hands. It was the candle from his mother's window, still warm. Samuel stayed in the village. He moved into his mother's cottage, slept in the room she had kept ready for 50 years, and lit the candle every single night, continuing the prayer his mother had started. At her grave, he placed a simple stone with these words: "She prayed, I came. Love outlasted everything." This story teaches us something profound. Faith is not a transaction. It is not a guarantee of timing or outcome. Faith is the sacred stubbornness to keep believing when everything says stop. Hannah never saw her prayer answered, but her prayer was answered one day after her final breath. Perhaps you have been praying for years. Perhaps heaven seems silent. Perhaps you wonder if your words matter. They do. Every prayer is heard. Every tear is counted. Every act of faith sends ripples into eternity you may never see. Do not stop praying. The answer may be traveling toward you right now. Your faith is not wasted, not a single word of it. The candle is still burning. Heaven is still listening.